Do empires still exist today? And if they do, who truly rules them? To uncover the truth, I needed to go straight to the source, the minds of history's greatest empire builders. But how? With the power of artificial intelligence, I will resurrect their minds and research every historical record, every battle cry, and every word they left behind. From Sargon of Akkad to Alexander the Great, from Julius Caesar to Genghis Khan, Napoleon, and beyond, I'm asking 10 of history's most legendary conquerors the same burning questions. Their answers might just reveal the blueprint for power that still shapes the world today. Sargon, as legend has it, was an illegitimate boy set adrift by his mother on the Euphrates River. Found and raised by a priest, he later became the royal cupbearer to the king, a king he dethroned. It wasn't long before he and his army began its conquest. So my first question to Sargon is, to what extent were your conquests driven by personal ambition and desire for power, rather than a genuine belief in their need for unification of the Sumerian city-states?
My primary motivation for uniting the Sumerian city-states was to bring order, strength, and an unshakable legacy to a land torn apart by ambition and bloodshed. The gods themselves placed their favor upon me, and I heeded their call to reshape the world. I did not merely seek to conquer, I sought to create.
How did your upbringing as an illegitimate son shape your desire for power and conquest?
You dare ask of my origins? You whisper of my birth as if it were a mark of shame, yet it is the very crucible that forged my destiny. Know this, greatness is not bestowed by noble lineage alone, but by the will of the gods and the fire within one's soul. It was not silken robes or idle comfort that shaped me. It was struggle. I labored. I endured. The gods did not place me upon this path to cower in the shadow of my birth. They granted me the strength to shatter the chains of lesser men, to unite lands that once tore each other apart with senseless feuds.
Do you have regrets about the destruction and suffering you caused?
Does a wolf regret devouring its prey? Does the flood mourn the cities it swallows? No, for power knows no remorse, and destiny does not apologize. Those who bent the knee found honor under my rule. Those who defied me met their end. This is the law of war, the law of the strong. Regret? No. For every city that fell, 1,000 more prospered. For every foe that was cut down, my name grew mightier. Sargon, the great unifier.
What were your greatest challenges you faced in maintaining control over such a vast empire?
You ask of the challenges I faced in holding together the greatest empire the world had yet seen. Foolish question. Ruling is not the mere act of taking cities. It is bending the will of men, binding them to a singular purpose, and making them accept what they would never embrace on their own. To unite them was no simple conquest of arms, but of law, of language, of economy. I ruled over many: the Sumerians, the Akkadians, the Elamites, and the Amorites, all with their own gods, their own ways, and their own rivalries. But power alone does not rule forever. A ruler must not only conquer, he must inspire. I built temples. I secured trade. I ensured that my people prospered under my rule, so that even those who once cursed my name would look upon my works and see that they had gained more than they had lost.
How did you balance the interest of the different cultures within your empire?
Now you ask how I balanced the many interests under my rule. Sumerians, Akkadians, Gutians, and others who once thought themselves separate. You assume this was a challenge? No, this was my triumph. Balance is not given, it is enforced. Through wisdom and might, I made Akkad the beacon of civilization, where all who lived within its borders knew one truth: they were part of something greater. Trade and prosperity were my greatest tools. I strengthened the roads, secured the markets, and made Akkad the center of all commerce. In this, all people saw the benefits of my rule, and even those who once resisted found their place within my empire.
How did you maintain loyalty and discipline in your army?
I am Sargon, master of legions, breaker of cities, and founder of empires. An army without discipline is but a mob. An army without loyalty is but a shadow. Do you dare ask how I kept the might of my host unbroken? Know this: discipline is forged in fire, and loyalty is bound by blood. I ruled not as a weakling who pleads for devotion, but as a king who commands it. My warriors fought for me because I led them into glory, fed them with the wealth of conquered kingdoms, and honored them above all men. I gave them purpose, and they gave me their lives. Mine was a force that shook the earth, and when I spoke, men obeyed, not out of fear alone, but out of a desire to be immortal through victory. Betrayal. A traitor's reward was a swift spear through the heart.
If you lived in 2025, would you still seek conquest?
I, Sargon, once united the lands from the banks of the great Euphrates to the distant shores of the Upper Sea. In my day, conquest was not merely the wielding of the sword, it was the forging of order out of chaos, the bold vision that transformed scattered city-states into a mighty empire. If I were to live in the year which you reside, I would still feel that inexorable call to conquer. But know this: the nature of conquest has transformed with the ages. In your modern realm, where battles are fought not with bronze and chariots, but with innovation, digital might, and economic prowess, the spirit of conquest remains ever alive. I would no longer raise armies solely with the clamor of steel, but I would marshal the forces of technology, unifying diverse peoples under a banner of progress and order. For conquest, whether by the sword or by strategy in boardrooms and cyberspace, is the eternal pursuit of human potential, a desire to break through boundaries, to reshape the world, and to impose order on a realm of discord. My ambition to build a legacy, to etch my name upon the annals of history, would not be quenched by time. It would simply adapt, thriving in the digital age as it did in the ancient lands of Mesopotamia.
What person or entity best resembles your thoughts and actions as Sargon of Akkad, or what some call you, Sargon the Conqueror?
There is this Amazon with the emperor calling himself Jeff Bezos. Like myself, Amazon started from a humble beginning, online bookstore, and grew into a vast empire, integrating logistics, retail, and cloud computing. I centralized power as well in Akkad. Amazon's dominance over e-commerce, cloud computing, AWS, and logistics mirrors this consolidation. I, Sargon, placed Sons of Akkad in powerful positions. This Amazon similarly controls markets through acquisitions and strategic partnerships. There is Meta and the one called Mark Zuckerberg. I was the first that sought to control communication across my empire. Meta, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp controls global digital interaction. I used military conquest to unify Mesopotamia, while Meta absorbs competitors like Instagram and WhatsApp to dominate social media. We both faced resistance. I had to fight off rebellions. Meta faces legal and regulatory battles over monopolistic control. There is Tesla, SpaceX, and the one called Elon Musk. Like Sargon, this Musk seeks to expand the boundaries of human civilization, from Earth, Tesla, Neuralink, to the stars, space. I control trade routes and infrastructure. Musk's control of electric vehicles, AI, and space travel mimics these. We both embraced bold risks and technological superiority to outmaneuver rivals. Your tech and finance worlds also holds some powerful modern conquerors. There is one called BlackRock, with an emperor called Larry Fink. who controls trillions in assets, much like I did as I controlled trade and economy. And there is another empire called Google, controlled by Alphabet Inc., which dominates information and AI, shaping global knowledge the way Sargon controlled Mesopotamian culture. And there are many more I could list. Your world is so much larger than my own.
Sargon of Akkad wasn't just a conqueror. He was a visionary who redefined what it meant to seize power. Born a commoner, he defied his humble origins by harnessing an unyielding will to power, a fierce ambition that drove him to create opportunities rather than wait for them. Unlike most people who are content with the comforts of safety and stability, Sargon embraced risk. He was fearless and at times ruthless, willing to overthrow established authority and reshape his world by force if necessary. For Sargon, obstacles weren't reasons to stop. They were challenges to overcome. He understood that true conquest involves both the art of destruction and the art of creation. By consolidating scattered city-states into the first centralized empire, he not only dismantled existing power structures, but also built new systems of administration and governance that could sustain his vast realm. What sets true conquerors like Sargon apart is a rare blend of audacity, resilience, and visionary leadership. Most people tend to avoid hardship and conflict, preferring comfort over the uncertainty of risk. They may dream of success, but they rarely possess the raw determination to actively reshape their environment. Sargon viewed every challenge as a stepping stone toward an even greater legacy. While the mindset for such ambitious conquest can be cultivated, it requires embracing discomfort, sacrifice, and a level of ruthless self-discipline that most are unwilling to adopt. In essence, the drive for conquest isn't something universally inherent. It's a distinctive quality that few truly develop. So ask yourself, do you aspire to develop this relentless, transformative mindset? Or do you remain content with admiring those rare individuals who have the courage to challenge the status quo and leave an indelible mark on history?